real love is not, it's not a prison. I certainly don't think I was put on this planet to put chains on the people that I deeply care about. I made it through high school, college, and my 20s and half of my 30s without ever drinking or doing any drugs.
Yeah. So that's a big jump to go from that to doing mushrooms and ayahuasca. Like, what was that like the first time?
Terrifying.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the very first ever episode of Love, Loss, and Hallucinations, where interesting people talk about their experiences and wisdom around all forms of love, loss, and hallucinations. I figured there's already like 3.5 million, 4 million podcasts in the world. Might as well add one more. What the hell? So today, for our very first episode, I am pleased to have with me Tiffanie DeBartolo.
Hi.
That's her. She's a writer of 3 novels and a graphic novel, and the founder and chief executive super goddess of Bright Antenna Records. She also happens to be my wife.
All true.
And an extraordinary human. And I'm not just saying that because we happen to sleep together. It's a very true fact. All of our friends would attest to that, I think.
I'm blushing already.
I guess first, since this is our first episode, my first episode, I just wanted to like zone in on, just what comes to mind for you when you think of love and loss. I mean, there's a bunch of different types, and we're not limited here to just talking about, love and loss in relation to another person. Are there any others that come to mind for you that?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind when you say that is sort of the place from which we all come, which I believe is love, the source of everything, and sort of the energy and the fuel of our lives if we choose to harness that.
So this is more of a general overall thought around love.
I think it's everything. I think it's the only thing that matters. And I think that more love is the answer to almost any question and any problem.
I love that. More love is almost always the answer to every question. I could not agree more. And in addition to that, I'm just wanting to add that, there's other types of love. It could be a passion for what you do, a love of the forest, as well as also losses, like could be loss of identity or a loss of a dog, or just sort of the general feeling of loss around the earth right now and what it's going through.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I feel all of those things too. And I think for me, loss is something that always conjures grief, and the processing of grief.
Yeah, well, we are definitely going to get into that today.
Ooh.
A little later in the podcast.
Fun.
Yeah, happy times. And I think the same goes for hallucinations too. There's obviously everyone goes straight to like psychedelics, and we'll be definitely talking a lot about that, plant medicine and that sort of thing. But there's also, a hallucination could be, you're dehydrated and you see something that's not there, or you've been out on a vision fast or a vision quest and you're seeing things that may or may not be there. Could also be dreams.
I was going to say that.
So we're going to be hitting all of these topics in this podcast. And Tiffanie will be, I would imagine, a frequent repeated guest. I'm looking forward to that.
I hope so.
We delve more into this topic. But for now, let's just get going and talk about, what would you like to start with, Tiffanie? You get one of the 3 subjects: love, loss, or hallucination.
I mean, let's just start with love.
You got to start with love.
You got to start with love. I mean, that's certainly where our story starts.
Yes, it does. And
It flows into loss and hallucinations, but
Yeah.
it starts with love.
So I guess I'm curious, like, what do you feel like when you were growing up, what was your view of love, and how has that evolved as you've grown older?
I mean, I think that growing up, I had a very naively romantic view of love, sort of rom-com-esque, I would say. And it took me a long time to understand what love really is. But I think what it took for me was the sense that I needed more intimacy in my life and depth of connection, which led me to an understanding of love that is much more profound than just the romantic parts of it.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying like when you're younger, like it was a matter of like, oh, this sort of like just the attraction is the love sort of thing, and that's going to sustain everything. And the thought that once you find this true love person that gives you this feeling, that's it, and it's all going to be great.
Definitely. I mean, I would say that the day we got married, it was like this feeling to me of like, here it is. And that was really just the beginning of learning about love.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, it was. We'll get into that too. But I'm curious also, like, would you say that informed? She also happens to have written and directed a film. For those of you who may not know it, it's a bit of a cult classic these days called Dream for an Insomniac. There'll be a link to it in the show notes. And do you think that original idea of love is what informed that movie?
Oh, of course. Because I thought it was as simple as two people meet and maybe one of them falls in love and stalks the other one. And then that other one realizes he's in love too. And they live happily ever after. Like it was immature, honestly. But, I was also 21 and 22 years old when I wrote that film.
That's
so
really young to be.
How would I have known any better?
Yeah. And what was that movie about? Just a brief
description. Well, I mean, it was about this. It was inspired by this boy that I met in college. That he walked into the classroom one day, and I literally heard a voice say, "You're going to marry that guy," and I stalked him for years and years, trying to get him to go on a date with me. And when he wouldn't go on a date with me, I moved to LA for a job, and he had moved to Boulder, Colorado to go to grad school. And I wrote this film sort of inspired by this devastating loss I felt. There's your loss.
There's some loss already, yes.
Completely heartbroken about the fact that I thought I was never going to see this person again, and I was certain he was the man I belonged with, and that man was you.
It was me. Yeah, and just my always addition to this story is I did have a girlfriend at the time. I just, she likes to leave that out, which I understand.
I forgot.
Gives it some more drama.
The other thing I was going to say was that I wrote it because I didn't think I was ever going to see you again. And in my head, I was like, I'm going to get this movie made, and you're going to see it someday and realize that I was the one that got away. And as luck would have it, you became single and reached out to me before the movie hit the theaters. So it didn't unfold that way at all. I
actually told her that I loved her before she showed me the movie. So it all worked out
Yeah.
for the moment.
For the moment.
And in that moment. And again, like looking back at that and seeing where you are now with love, like how would you define love now? Like, what is that to you?
I mean, that is a very big question. How would I define love? I think that, like, when you boil it down, love is reverence and devotion. Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to articulate that.
Well, reverence and devotion, how do you balance that though with like a sense of freedom?
Well, I don't understand that question. What's
Well,
the connection there?
I mean, some people I think could see, the term devotion as like, it's all about this person and my whole life revolves around this person, devotion. So where does the line go between like being devoted to the person or the relationship and having a sense of your own self and freedom to be who you need to be?
Well, I think that real love is not, it's not a prison. I certainly don't think I was put on this planet to put chains on the people that I deeply care about. And I think if you approach love that way, then part of the loving, the act of loving, the verb to love is allowing your beloved to be who they are. I mean, that's real love to me. And I mean, you taught me a lot of that. Your love for me really taught me that and proved that in a way to me that has enabled me to embody it. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I ask this honestly, like, can you give an example of something I did that really demonstrated that to you?
I mean, without getting into nitty-gritty details, I think
that's
just
for a later episode.
Maybe. I think your ability to understand that I had wounds that you couldn't fix and that I had to figure out how to do that myself. Even when you probably deep down knew that I was making decisions that weren't going to be helpful in the immediate moment.
Yes.
So that to me was a level of love and commitment that I needed to see to kind of mirror it and echo it.
Yeah. Well,
and carry it and embody it and witness it and hold it and give it back to you.
Yeah. So you needed someone to hold that space for you while you went through these things you needed to go through to learn more about yourself and heal your own wounds.
Yeah.
And I think what you said at the end there about giving it back to me is one of the beautiful things I think about our relationship and how it's evolved over the years is like, even though maybe you weren't clear or we weren't clear, certainly when we were younger about this, but like in the beginning, we had this amazing 7-year stretch of like that
honeymoon phase.
Honeymoon,
7 years of a honeymoon.
I mean, it was pretty good. It was awesome. It was pretty fucking good. I gotta say. And then things started to unravel and, you were pushing me to like go within myself to find my own wounds and heal myself. And so I think it was one of those things, and we've discussed this before ourselves, just like you pushed me to go there so then I could be there for you when you went through it. And it's been like this incredible back and forth kind of dance. And it's allowing each other the time to go through these processes, which aren't easy and can be very difficult and emotional
Yeah.
for both people.
And but also like real, true, like initiations into the next stage of our individual selves, ourselves as a couple, and sort of like our spiritual selves in terms of like how do we take this knowledge and this love and this commitment and give it back to the world some way.
Yeah. Which I think we're still trying to figure out.
Yes.
Too,
Every day trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But the focus is there now in a way that I don't think when we were younger we understood at all.
No, definitely not. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where like each of us individually and collectively need to figure out our stuff and then hopefully somehow exude that in a way that other people see it and pick up on it and
are inspired by
it.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned like the spiritual level of it, because I was going to bring that up, and like how I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think both of us when we were younger there was really nothing spiritual about it. Like we might have thought it was because it was love or whatever, but it was just like more physical, and we did get along, obviously.
Yes,
we had the same interests.
Yes, we had we were best friends, and we had a lot of passion. Two things that we still have, but we didn't know how to take off our masks with each other, all of the masks, and just lay ourselves bare. I mean, I guess I can't speak for you, but I feel like for those first 7 years, I was the best version of me showing up to you. And what started to crumble for me was like, I was starting to feel all of the shadow parts of myself wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen. And you just weren't ready to see them because you weren't ready to see them in yourself. And it was a challenge. And I guess, I think it's important to point out too, for people who don't know this about us, is that we were 25 when we started dating.
Yes.
And 30 when we got married. So, when we got married at 30, I thought we were adults. It seemed like we were, but we really didn't know anything about how to cultivate a deep spiritual relationship with each other.
Yeah. And so what does spirit mean to you now in terms of our relationship and how we express our love to each other?
That's another really hard question, but I think it's something about it being bigger than just us, and like really tapping into almost a primal, divine, sacred energy that I really feel so deeply when we're connecting deeply. And
I just got goosebumps, by the way, when she was saying that. So that's...
I was just having visions of the last time we had sex when I was saying that.
That was very spiritual too. Just one last question around here, unless there's anything else you want to say about love immediately. I've noticed, certainly like a number of people come to you for relationship advice, I feel. And is there any commonality in sort of when they're asking, like what their issues are or the advice you give them, or?
I mean, I think it depends on the person. I
Yeah.
can't think of anything that's like a common theme. But I also feel like I've gained a lot of experience in that, um, with that topic, where I am a lot less forgiving about issues that people might have with partners. Like before, I think like Tiffanie 2.0, and let's say we're on Tiffanie 8.0 right now. Like Tiffanie 2.0 would have like really tried to work out, help someone really work it out with their significant other. And I just don't think everyone's meant to stay together anymore. You know, like I've seen too many people go through relationships where it's just a matter of like someone that's just not going to change. And do you want to keep repeating a pattern? I think this is the thing, is like I've just noticed that people just repeat patterns.
Yes.
And they move from one person to the next person, but that next person is basically the same thing in a different meat suit. And until you fix it in yourself, you're just going to keep doing that over and over again and never learn the lesson. And so for me now, like my advice usually centers around that person that's asking me, not the person that they're having problems with.
Yeah, or the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wise. Because there is, just to bring this up, is like, I agree with you. But at the same time, like like 3 years after we got married, our relationship started to fall apart. And it took like almost 4 years to like go through our stuff and like figure our stuff out till we could come back together. And so like the Tiffanie 8.0 might have said, he's a lost cause, give it up.
Well, I mean, I think that Tiffanie 2.0 said that to myself. I mean, because we really did try for like a solid year. We tried to like work through all these things, but neither of us had the language and the emotional intelligence to really address what the actual problems were. And when we broke up in 2004, I would have bet my dogs that we weren't going to get back together. Like, I just thought, this is it. Like, it didn't work. And really, it's a testament to you that you didn't give up back then, because the truth is, like, there was a part of me that never let go of you, obviously. And couldn't, and knew deep in my soul that, I don't know, I just remember during that time, like trying to imagine a world, a future for myself that you weren't in as an intimate partner. And I couldn't conjure that up. And yet at the same time, like my physical self was like, but he is who he is, and I need these things that I'm not getting. So it's over. And, thank God that you didn't throw in the towel too soon.
Thank God. I agree
Because,
with that.
well, and that also just goes back to that whole idea of pattern, because had you not learned anything and I not learned anything by going through this together, both of us would have probably ended up in the same situation,
For sure.
just with less cool partners.
Yeah. Well, mutually less cool partners.
But I was going to say something else about that too. I forgot what it was. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully. But yeah, what I was going to say about that, now that you're talking it out, is like, A, at any given point, one of us was not giving up, and B, we were both working on ourselves. Like, for a while, we were both working on the relationship too, but then ultimately it was like each of us were working on ourselves, and we were trying to change in some way. We weren't just like, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to go on to the next person.
Correct. Although I will say that I desperately wish that I would have done the kinds of things that you did back then, which I didn't do until years later. I wish I would have gone on a vision fast back in 2005 and done ayahuasca and really kind of pushed myself outside of my comfort zone in ways that really ended up like connecting me to the earth and myself and really opened my heart in a way that would have been very helpful for me back then to keep me from making bad decisions.
I get that. Yeah.
So,
and all that she's mentioning, actually, both our relationship and the Vision Fast, Vision Quest, doing ayahuasca, as well as going to India, is all in this memoir that I wrote that this podcast happens to be named after, Love, Loss, and Hallucinations. So we're not going to get into the details of that quite yet, not till the book's out. Then we're going to have a big talk about that whole time. So that's going to be fun.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Exactly. So yeah, if you don't mind, we can like talk about loss a little bit and grief, as you were mentioning earlier. You said you brought up when you moved to LA and I moved to Boulder, there's like that heartbreak, loss, and grief. I mean, what was that like for you at that time, if you can remember back that far?
That was a long time ago, but I mean, it did feel like heartbreak. And heartbreak is, I think, one of the most painful losses. I joke that sometimes it's worse than someone dying, because if someone dies, you can't run into them at Whole Foods.
Which causes a whole other set of emotions. I think a lot of people are very familiar with heartbreak on some level. Is there any other, like when I ask you what has been a great loss in your life, like what comes to mind?
I mean, death and heartbreak.
Yeah. Like, but for you yourself personally, like when have you experienced, I guess, death where it really like hit you, and what did that make you realize about?
I mean, I know this might sound crazy to some people, but one of the most devastating and difficult losses I've ever experienced was the loss of our first wolfhound, Dipsy. I was just so attached to him, and his death came at a time in my life where things felt really scary and chaotic and sort of out of control. And I was already very raw at that time. But then, and he died very traumatically and suddenly, just had a heart attack in our living room. And it really changed me in a way that no other death that I'd ever experienced in my lifetime has changed me, because
Yeah, we had lost dogs before.
we had lost dogs
Two
before,
dogs beforehand.
dogs that I loved so much. And it was just, I think it just came at a time in my life that my heart was already kind of cracked open, and his loss just broke it open even wider. And it was an experience of sort of lesson learning about what death really means and how we can't hold on to anything we love. And I think that I don't know, that it's just like the human experience. Like it was so painful, but there was also something deeply beautiful and poetic about the experience for me, because it did teach me about that surrendering to the seasons of life where things come and things go. And I think I'm a better person for that experience.
Yeah, I mean, how have you learned to deal with that letting go? Like,
I mean, it's a case by case basis. And it's I think it's interesting too, because we're at a place in our life where, our parents are getting older. I have 2 friends that lost parents this week, and
yeah.
it's facing us in a way that we could pretend it wasn't facing us before. And I say pretend because we could lose anybody and anything at any time. But, when you're younger, it just doesn't seem as dangerous or present. And it's just something that's present for me in a way that I'm really conscious of.
And is that changing how you're living your life?
Yeah, it is. It's changed how I approach all my relationships, I think. I wish I could say more about that, but I don't know how to explain it. It's more of a feeling and an embodiment and a presence. There's just this awareness that time is our time with the people that we love is it's just dwindling all the time. And I think the old version of me would have just been really anxious about that idea. And now I don't know, there's just an acceptance of it. It doesn't mean it hurts any less,
Right.
but I hold it in a different way.
And by that, do you mean a couple different things come to mind, that when you're with a friend or a family member, that you try to be more present with that person? And then is it also a matter of like being more, say, choosy on who and when you spend time with other people?
I think it feels like a different kind of connection.
Connection to?
It's just an interaction with people. The way that I interact with people feels more, I don't know, it just feels deeper.
And do you think that's goes back to what you've learned through these losses? But it almost feels to me like that also ties back to love on some level.
It does. And I mean, not to jump ahead, but it also ties into hallucinations, because
we're going to get to that.
Because I think the work I've done with plant medicine in the last, I guess it's like been 6 years since I started working with plant medicine. Is that right? 2018?
Yeah, something like that.
2018?
Right.
I can't do the math. Is that 8 years? 7 years? I don't know. Anyway.
Almost 7.
Almost 7 years. Yeah, that work has really shifted my ability to be present with all of these feelings around love and loss.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, let's just dive into that then. Like how and why? Like, let's pretend I'm just like Joe Schmo. I've never done any of this stuff. Like, what do you mean you like went on this psychedelic journey and it changed the way you feel about love and loss and presence? And
Yeah.
how did that happen?
How did that happen? 2018, I got very interested. I read Michael Pollan's book,
How to Change Your Mind.
How to Change Your Mind, and I got very interested in using psychedelics to gain wisdom and grow and heal. And I worked with a therapist to do like some baby steps into it. And then sort of took a deeper dive with ayahuasca. And then worked with ketamine, which was really life-changing for me.
That really worked for you.
And just like cured my anxiety, basically. And it's just been an ongoing process where once or twice a year, I kind of, have a tune-up. And every time builds on the last time. And it's been so profound what it's brought to me, what it's brought to us.
Yes, I agree.
What it's taught me about myself, but also about, I don't know, the sort of where we started with like that, the universal energy that is love.
Yeah. And just as a little background on you, when we first met, you were straight edge. And
all my life.
All of your life, which for those who don't know the term means
don't know minor threat.
Minor threat, yeah. Banned minor threat. Straight edge, no drugs, no alcohol.
This is correct. I made it through high school, college, and my 20s and half of my 30s without ever drinking or doing any drugs.
Yeah. So that's a big jump to go from that to doing mushrooms and ayahuasca. Like, what was that like the first time?
Terrifying, terrifying. I remember like texting my sister and being like, just if I die, like, just here's all my stuff in case I die. And you were like, you're not gonna die. I didn't know. Yeah, it was a big jump, but I'm really appreciative of the fact that I didn't do drugs recreationally when I was younger, because I have a reverence for the medicine now that feels very important. You know, it's not a party for me. It's a deep dive into healing and growing and begging the universe for wisdom.
Begging the universe for wisdom. I think that we should change the podcast. So yeah, that's super interesting in that you're not using these substances to have fun or have a party or whatever, which is fine. There's a place and a time for that too. But sounds like you're very intentional about like beforehand, the actual day of,
always
reflecting on it afterwards.
Yeah.
And
it's a real ceremony.
It's a real ceremony. Like the whole thing is a ceremony. And how is if you look at it as a whole, how is that helpful versus, I guess, just taking them?
I mean, it's a real sacred experience, and it feels that way. It feels like a gift from the plants. It feels like, I mean, this is going to sound crazy for people who don't do this work, but it feels like the plants are begging us to learn things so we can take better care of ourselves and each other and the earth.
Yeah.
And so that feels like what it gives to me.
Totally. Yes. I definitely agree with everything you just said. And I'm wondering, I'm just wondering if I ask you, like, what's a real memorable plant medicine experience you've had, and what did you learn from it?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when you say that is a retreat that I went on with the therapist was hosting it, actually, the therapist that I originally experimented with. And we were out, he took a group of us out into a forest near Santa Cruz, a redwood forest, and we didn't have any tents or anything. We just had our sleeping bags, and we spent 2 nights there. And the second night was a mushroom journey. And anyone who's ever been to a medicine retreat knows there's always one person in the group that has a freak out night. I had never been that person before, but this night I was that person. And what had happened to me that night was that my maternal grandma had shown up for me and basically asked me to download the pain of my maternal lineage and heal it. And I said okay, and it was so painful. I don't even know how to describe the feeling. It was a physical feeling of just like carrying the weight of the world. But if weight felt like sorrow, it was just like the heaviest grief. Like I had the 2 helpers and the therapist like around me, and one of them was holding me, and one of them was like pushing on my chest, and one of them was like stroking my hair, and I was just like crying and screaming, and I couldn't stop for, it felt like hours. But what's really interesting about that, it was a really challenging night. And the next morning, when we all gathered to talk about our experiences and sort of integrate it in the circle, I was recounting what was happening for me. And there was a woman who kind of like got, I don't know, she was very indignant when I was telling the story. And she was like, if an ancestor comes down and asks you something like that, you can say no. And
important lesson here, folks.
but yeah, I guess you can. But I had this very, very strong sense that I had said yes a long time ago.
Wow.
And that was part of what I was there to do. So I don't know that I agree that you can say no. I think if they show up,
to say yes. Yeah, there's a
feel
reason they're showing up.
there's a reason they're picking you to do it. And I was honored to do it, and I'm still doing that work.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, like, that obviously sounded super intense, super painful, super hard. Probably one of those things where you're in the middle of it, like, is this ever going to end?
And why do I do this
why do I
every
do
time?
this?
Why do I do
Yeah,
this?
and you've had other ceremonies since, I happen to know, that...
yeah, this was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that there's a lot of grief that came through, and still some, both with ancestors as well as just in general. And I mean, it does beg the question, like, why do you keep doing these journeys? Is it worth going through all this grief in the ceremonies?
Yeah, because the weight that it lifts, that you go into your next day with, is remarkably palpable. Palpable. I think that's the word I mean.
Palatable?
No,
palpable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it always feels, you can always tell you've done the work. You can always tell. I think the one thing I'll say about that, though, is that I also know a lot of people who work with plant medicine, and I know people who go into it having experiences and then going back to their life the next day. Like, they don't change because they think that the medicine is doing the work. They think the medicine is changing them, and then somehow the next day they're better, or they fix something. But really what I found is that the medicine is basically a teacher giving you your assignments.
Yes.
And
I agree with this.
if you don't do your homework, you're going to fail the class.
Yep. Yep.
And I know a lot of people who have shown up for the medicine journeys, but they don't do the work and they fail the class.
Yep.
And that class is life.
Yeah, and especially for those out there who haven't done plant medicine, like especially like the first week, 2 weeks, month or so, like you feel like, oh, my life is totally different. It's going to change, and everything is great now. But you're 100% correct in that, like, if you don't continue, like, focusing on the change you want to make, the change that the medicine has shown you need to make, like, you will slip back into your old habits.
Yeah.
And I know this from personal experience for sure. Like,
Yep.
when I first did it, as recounted in my memoir, and then I was like, okay, everything's great, I'm good, I don't need to do that stuff anymore. And sure enough, I sort of like slid back in, and then a decade later, I finally got a little more serious about doing the homework.
Yeah, and I think for me, I really, really, really like this version of me. The version of me that the connecting with nature and connecting with the medicine has turned me into, has helped me become. And I want to hold on to this person. I want to continue to be this person and grow into an even better version of this person. So it's something I think about every day now.
Yeah, and it is never ending.
It's never ending. Every journey.
There's another layer every time.
Yep.
For better or worse, usually for better.
Yeah,
It's always
for better. Always for better.
For people out there who aren't familiar with plant medicine, what do you think, or haven't used it, I guess, in this way, in this intentional way? What do you think most people like? What is a misconception, sorry, either way, that they have about using these plants in medicine, whether it's psilocybin or ketamine?
Well, probably my answer to that would be what I just said, sort of, which is that they think the medicine is fixing them and that they can just wake up the next day and be somebody else. And they don't understand that, you have to choose that every day. It's like a friend of ours who always says, nothing changes if nothing changes. That's you, Ben. It's so true, though. And I learned that the hard way in my life, because I was making a lot of decisions that were coming from a almost adolescent place of not really understanding the ramifications of what I thought I wanted. And it really took a lot of conscious choice to A, admit that, and B, choose to make different choices. And I'm so grateful for that.
Well, and that's such a huge step, because neither the adolescent part or your ego part wants to admit either of those things.
No. And I spent decades in that space of just thinking that if I felt it, it was real,
What's that Radiohead line?
Yeah.
Even if you feel it, just because you feel it doesn't
make it true.
Doesn't make it true. That's it. Yeah.
It makes something true. The feeling is true, but what you think it means isn't true.
Well said. Not trying to discount anyone's feelings here, but
just my own.
The reasons for them and where they're coming from might not be 100% accurate, or serving you in the best way.
Yeah, not if you haven't done the work. Not if you don't know how to look at yourself in an honest way.
I'm curious, do you have any tips for someone who's considering doing this sort of work the first time with plant medicine or otherwise? Or
I would say always, always, always do it with someone who has experience, whom you trust.
Are they doing it or not?
I would say no. You need someone, you need a guard.
Yeah.
You need a sitter,
Yeah.
Preferably a professional, someone who's trained in doing this, and make sure that the setting is the right setting, you know.
You mean like comfortable, like you feel safe there?
Yes, a safe place, not people around, no distractions, everything as you need it to be comfortable and safe and beautiful and, you know, sacred. And then, you know, keep space afterwards, you know, take a day or two off and just walk around in a forest or on a beach and really reflect and write about what you learned.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think a lot of people, especially first times, they tend to jump back into life way too soon. And
Yeah.
you need to allow yourself some space to like integrate what you've just experienced and figure out how you're going to take it forward.
Yeah. And I also think I've found that like, you'll know when you're ready for it.
Yeah.
Like it will call you hard. It will like bang on the door of your head and be like, do medicine, do medicine, do medicine. And until that happens, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. You're just not ready yet.
You're not ready yet. And which is, I want to like make a clarification that you can hear that call and be ready and still be terrified. So don't let the part about being terrified make you think you're not ready yet.
Good
Because
point.
I am still terrified every single time I do a journey. And I've done probably, I don't know, 12.5 of them at this point.
Yeah.
It's always very scary because it's like jumping into the unknown. So that's not the telltale sign that you're not ready. That means you're smart and you realize that you're gonna crack yourself open and take a look inside.
Yeah. Smart and brave.
Smart and brave. Got to be smart and brave.
Yeah, definitely. I want to go back in the last few minutes we have here and just because I feel like people might find it interesting, and I might splice this in earlier as well. But for my memoir, Love, Loss, and Hallucinations, obviously, as I said, it's about most of the book focuses on, my perspective of our struggles together and separating and going on my own journey to like, figure out my own stuff. But you are also my primary reader for this book. And
editor.
And editor. Very hardcore editor.
Very hardcore.
And I'm just wondering, like, was it difficult to read it all? And was it difficult to stay objective when you were editing? Those are kind of two different questions. But
okay, let's start with the first one. Was it difficult to read at times? Yes, for sure. There were a lot of parts in it that I didn't even know because I wasn't there. It was like chunks of your life where we were separated. So I didn't know a lot of what you were going through, specifically in detail, the way you wrote it. So some of that was really hard to read. I mean, there were also parts where our memories of conversations or situations
yes.
were so different.
Memory is fallible.
Memory is very interesting, I learned, because there would be scenes that he would recount where I had a very vivid memory of how it unfolded. And I would read his and I'd be like, this is not how it happened. And then like his journal entry basically would be like word for word almost what he wrote in the book. And I'm just like, but my journal says something completely different. So that was challenging for me. And also, I mean, I know we've talked about this before, but there was points in reading the book where I'm like, I am the villain in this story sometimes.
I hope I smooth that out by the end.
Yeah, well, and
It's-
also I have to face the truth. Like, I was definitely a antagonist.
yeah.
And
But like I said earlier, like you pushed me to go on this journey, which I'm so grateful for now. So
yeah,
maybe at the time I probably would have agreed you were the villain, but by the end I didn't,
yeah.
for sure. Um, yeah, and just as far as like us having differing memories, sometimes it would just come down to like, well, it's my book. You're gonna have to write your own
Yep.
if you want to write your version of what you remember. Sorry.
I mean, I had to acquiesce to that.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
argue.
Which I think in a way like does go back to what we were saying earlier about love. Like, you know, we trust each other, we're supportive of each other in that way, and it's giving each other the freedom, even in this stuff, in a book where like you're disagreeing with what happened, but you're like, I just have to allow this to be and give him the freedom to write the story that he remembers and the way he experienced it.
Yep.
So,
And it's growth for me to be like, well, I can't hold on to any perceptions or misconceptions that people are going to have about me when they read the book. It's not my business.
I feel like a lot of people would have a lot of challenge with that. So thank you.
Yeah, sure.
What, if anything, do you love about the book?
Oh, so much. I mean, it's so moving. And even if it wasn't our story, it's just such a beautiful journey of a man trying to find himself and open his heart and be vulnerable. And I think it's an important thing, especially right now in this country, for men to read.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful. It's also really funny at times, and many times I cried through it, and I just loved it.
Oh, thanks.
It's really good.
I didn't even pay her to say that or anything.
It's really, honestly, really beautiful book.
Yeah. Well, it'll be out there in the world one of these days. Just in the agent chase right now, so we'll find it, find that right person. Well, thank you again for those kind words. But so having had this discussion and reflecting back, is there anything more about love that you think people should know in your experience?
I mean, I think maybe this is trite and people already know this, but it's really hard work. It's a real commitment to wake up every day and choose someone and choose to really and truly love them. And that is something that I've learned through, our decades together, is how grateful I am that I get to wake up and choose you every day, and how meaningful that is to me. I mean, my job is, all the jobs I have are really important and meaningful to me, and my family is really important and meaningful to me, and my creativity is really important and meaningful to me, and my time in nature is really important and meaningful to me. But nothing is more important to me than our relationship and the depth that it brings me as a person, and the devotion that I feel and commitment I feel to this relationship is, it's just, I'm really proud of what we've been able to achieve and accomplish and build here. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask you one last, everyone says end on a high note. This is probably not it. But given all that you just said, how do you feel if I was to say die first? What sort of loss and grief do you think that's going to hit you with?
Oh my God, this is a terrible question. I don't know. I mean, that will be the ultimate test of everything I've learned in my whole life, like how to get through that, how to hold on to the love when your body's not here.
Yeah. Well, I think we both know the love will still be there, though. Don't roll your eyes.
I want the body.
You want the body. Or is it just the penis?
No.
You want the whole body.
I want all of it. If it was just the penis, I'd just replace that.
Well, I don't think we can end it on anything better than that. So thank you, Tiffanie, for being part of my first ever podcast episode for Love, Loss, and Hallucinations. And
thanks for having me. Hope to come back.
You will definitely be back. She will be back. There's lots more to talk about. So, until next time, thanks, everyone. And leave your comments below. I'll definitely answer any questions you have. Tiffanie will too. And see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.